principal, he is responsible for supervising the entire school district. He works very hard at providing financing for all of the school operations. He is in charge of buildings and grounds. Perhaps you have noticed that there is new construction taking place right now on the campus under his direction. Speaking of grounds, he is careful that his staff keeps the lawn mowed and trimmed. While not his favorite part of being principal, Mr. Knoller ultimately is in charge of, shall we say, discipline. We will leave it at that. Please join me in showing Mr. Knoller our appreciation. David Hill was chosen to begin serving on the school board just this past month in May. We are confident he will be making many contributions in the school years to come. Mr. Hill's wife, Sherry, is not on the school board, but she is in the process of operating our new grammateria. We are looking forward to this new facility being opened at the start of school next September. Also, we have special guests tonight, flown in from the East Coast to see their 4 precious grandchildren were Grandma and Grandpa Hill. Would you please stand and wave to the crowd, Grandma and Grandpa?
That guy looks familiar. Isn't he on the board?
Wave again, wave again.
We're so pleased to be here.
That's the guy that's on the board.
And now, to introduce everyone's favorite. That's not very nice. And now to introduce.
It's a good thing this is a
Katie,
real
I would be so annoyed if you were doing this. Everyone's
Say it!
favorite teacher.
Hey!
Mrs. Christy Knoller. The school is very fortunate to have Mrs. Knoller as their teacher. Mrs. Knoller came to Washington State from New York. Her credentials were stellar.
What's stellar mean?
Very good.
Top of the line. Having graduated from Susquehanna Valley High School in Conklin, New York, she received her teaching degree from Philadelphia College of Bible and began her teaching career in Dayton, Ohio at the famed Dayton Christian Schools, where she taught 3rd grade for 3 years. Mrs. Knoller never considered moving to the Pacific Northwest until she met the love of her life, who by now you have probably guessed is Principal Mr. Knoller. Mr. Knoller, or Mrs. Knoller, is very busy as a wife, as a mom to 4 darling children, as well as a homeschooling mom. She is also an accomplished pianist, among many other fine talents. We are indebted to Mrs. Knoller for her
What?
continuous, faithful, thorough,
Good thing this isn't a real
diversified, talented teaching. She has been a model for all aspiring homeschooling moms. The Little House on Big Meadows first opened its doors to a 6th grader named Athletic Alex. That was in 2008. The following year, Alex was joined by his twin sister, Kind Katie. The following year, a little boy named Terrific Tanner began school as a 2nd grader. And we are proud to announce that the 4th student has now joined the classroom, Daring Chloe. Without further ado, these students have prepared a presentation to demonstrate what they have learned this year. Mrs. Knoller, I will now turn the program over to you.
Hey!
Go for Sweetie. Thank you all for coming. I'm so honored by your comments.
Our first act is Tanner on the piano.
Excellent. May begin at will.
Alright. as adventurous as this one.
Yay.
And here's the last one. It's called Song of Kilimanjaro. And don't be surprised if I mess up.
Nice job, Tanner.
That's all.
Thank you. This year we are on our second in a series of 4 for history called Story of the World, and we did the Middle Ages this year after doing ancient times last year. Each of the children is going to be showing you their activity binders we had made up. I have Tanner's here. And we'll be sharing some of their favorite parts with you, and then they each have a little report to give on their favorite person or event. Chloe, you may go first.
Three of my favorite things I learned about. Well, we learned about
Why don't you come sit right down here and show them?
Indians that were in the Americas before the when the explorers found the Americas, and so This is a codex, a Mayan codex. So the Mayans made books like this so they could read.
I'll show that right now. Let's go to the next one.
My next thing was when we learned about those, I made a little book, American Kingdoms. You could look at that if you want. Then another one, my favorite things I learned about was Queen Elizabeth. She was best queen England ever had.
A Queen Elizabeth will be visiting us later, so that's enough information about Queen Elizabeth. Thank you.
That's all, and I have
Hand that to them to look at. No.
look at this. And I have a book of time. This we cut out little cards, pictures, and what we did. Like we learned about King Philip, and we put them on the timeline. This was the first chapter right here, but now we started the white pages.
Because the white pages are what?
AD and these are BC.
Okay, Tanner.
Hi. I wanted to show you what I did in Story of the World this past year. Well, some of my favorite stories are, okay, this is the time of the Black Death. Here's a picture of the plague doctor. They would wear those suits to like scare away the disease or something because they didn't know about germs back then. Here's some templates that you could make. Beak template.
Wow.
And then
A beak.
this shows
number
this
one.
shows how you can catch it.
Can you read it to them?
Number 1, rat infested with bacteria. Flea bites a rat and gets bacteria. Flea's digestive system fills with bacteria. Flea bites humans. Humans become sick and die. Yeah. So it's kind of.
You're going to tell them.
And then the where you see the number 1, blue is number 1. I'll show you up here. This is where it happened first in all the years. It happened over in these sections over the Persian Empire and these islands in the year 1347. And then all the green that you see here is in 1348, and it goes up, you know. And yeah. And then I'll show you
So
some
it's
other.
spread every year.
Yeah. I'll show you some other things. Here's my Mayan Codex book. It's a Mayan Codex book is Mayans used to make these. They would like tell a story with pictures. Yeah, because they didn't have writing. Here it is. It just tells a story. It starts out with this, goes to this, goes to this, and that.
So what is the story it's telling?
Okay, it's telling they were trying to make contact, and so they did contact by doing a butt drop with an airplane. Then he found a sandbar and landed on it. Then the Indians, they had a friendly meeting, and then one of them told a lie, and then they were speared. Yeah, so. Okay. And then my third thing is the Lost Colony. Yeah. The Lost Colony, here I have a story about it. I'll tell you all about it. Island of Mystery by Tanner. That's what it's called. This is one of America's biggest mysteries. Colonists were starting to settle on Roanoke Island in 1585. Today it is part of North Carolina. Native Americans were beginning to threaten the colonists, which made them scared. So the colonists left 15 soldiers to guard while they went back to England. When they came back, they rowed their boats to the island. The 15 soldiers were gone. They only found the skeleton of one soldier. "They've been killed by Indians," the colonists cried. The commander who was in charge ordered the ships to go back to England because the colonists were getting seasick on the boats. The settlers were horrified because they'd be stranded on the island. But they did their best by cleaning the houses and taking care of the gardens. They also tried to make friends with the Indians. But then the colonists attacked a tribe of friendly Indians. Big mistake. John White went back to England on a boat to get more food and supplies. Back in England, Sir Walter Raleigh heard about what had happened, so he started collecting ships to go to Roanoke Island. But there was a war between Spain and England, so John White was stuck in England for 2 years. Finally, he boarded a warship and wound his way over to Roanoke Island. He waited for months on the ship, but in the end, he came to the island. He hoped to be greeted by the settlers, but no one was in sight. He walked along the overgrown paths and saw the foundations of the houses. John White was frantic with worry. The only clue that he found was the word Croton carved into the trunk of a tree. When he had slowly passed the island Croton just days earlier, he had seen no sign of life. It's just an island of mystery. So, no one will ever know what happened to them.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's it.
There were a lot of nights in the Middle Age days, and people had a hard time knowing which night was which, so they came up with a system called the Coat of Arms. And mine is called Hope and Truth. Do you like me to read it? Okay. Your coat of arms displays courage and character. The color of your shield is green, symbolizing hope, joy, and loyalty and love. The charge on your shield is the eagle, symbolizing strength, judicious protection of a person of noble nature. The mantling on your coat of arms is fancy and contains a forward-looking knight, as its helm symbolizing a person of nobility and military rank. The supporters of your coat of arms are unicorns, symbolizing virtue, strength, and extreme courage. And this year we also learned about Richard III and King Edward V. And this is, where did Richard III put young King Edward V? He put him in the Tower of London. And I also did the American kingdoms, and I did the Mayan, Aztec, and Incas.
Why don't you open up and show us a page?
The Mayan Empire was around 600 AD. The Mayans lived on the Yucatan Peninsula. Only the kings, noblemen, and governors lived in the Mayan cities. The farmers and craftsmen lived in the jungles of Central America. When the babies who would later become kings were born, their moms tied pieces of wood around their heads to make their skulls grow like a peak.
Ooh.
Mayan games ended in bloodshed. The winner of the game was given jade necklaces, gold bracelets, and sacks full of treasure, but the losers had to get their heads cut off.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's got some incentive to do well.
Yeah.
25 years too late. Do you know a woman who was sadly burned at the stake? Well, if you guessed it right, it's Joan of Arc. Joan claimed that she had visions to lead the French army into battle against Dauphin's enemies. He was a prince waiting to become king. Pretty soon, the Dauphin was announced to be crowned king. Joan of Arc was a true Christian and was blessed by God. Eventually, after she had won the battle, people called her Joan, Maid of Orleans. She had successfully defeated the enemies at Rheims. Later on, she was captured and put on trial for witchcraft. Witnesses made up false stories about her, but sadly she was found guilty and burned alive at the stake. Many people who saw her wept. 15 years later, Charles VII remembered Joan's death. He realized he had been guilty by abandoning her to his enemies. So Charles VII asked the church to examine the case. 25 years later, it was announced that Joan was found innocent. 25 years late to do anything.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see here. Alright, we learned about, in this chapter, we learned about King Richard, also known as Richard the Lionhearted. During this time, Jerusalem was under Muslim rule, and England felt like they had to go free the land for the Jews, and so
With the crusade.
yeah, he went on the Crusades. Richard went on the Crusades he went on several Crusades to Jerusalem, but they say I think 10 years that he was King of England. I think he only spent 10 months or 1 year actually being on his throne. He spent the other years fighting in Jerusalem. We learned about that, and actually when he came back, or actually after he died, his brother John came on the throne, and I guess I'm not sure if there were rules in England, but the government or whoever was in charge, they had the king at the time had all the power, and the government or whatever didn't want all that, and so they made King John sign the Magna Carta, which was a set of rules where the king also had to obey the law, not just the basic people. And I just made one up here. It's nothing really. I said Magna Carta to be obeyed by the rich and poor, weak and strong, wise or dumb, and most importantly by the king. And I said to the poor, not a penny do I want from thee, only a happy heart to meet me. For the wise, I said, bring me not secrets or gossip to spread, but something that's worthy of being read. Kind of forgot what it was. And to the rich I said, a proud man I wish not to see, only the humble one who would laugh and bring joy to a lonesome me. So I learned about that. And then we learned about Martin Luther and the 95 Theses posted on the church. Martin Luther was raised Catholic, and his parents wanted him to be a lawyer, and but he didn't. He chose to become a monk, and he was a strong Catholic, and he did good works, because that's what all Catholics have to do to get to heaven. And one day he was teaching a class of students from the book of Romans, and as he read, he discovered that there was something more than what the Catholics believed. I guess what the Catholics said contradicted what the Bible said, and so they felt like he was dug into Romans, and he discovered that there's something other than what the Catholic Church said, and that God was real. And so he decided to believe. He was called an outlaw, and in my world history book I learned that the king ordered, they said, you can kill Martin Luther, he can be captured and brought in for a reward, or you can just kill him on the spot. And so he fled to a castle elsewhere, and he actually changed his name, and he got married, and he eventually died there.
In the castle?
Yeah. Yep. He lived. Yeah. So
Did
yeah.
they flee to Germany or something?
I'm not sure. But yeah. Changed his name, it became John something. So yeah.
I learned long division in my math just a couple weeks ago, and I would like to share with you one of my math problems I learned. So this is 4 times 7. I'm going to say, how many times is 4 going to 7? So 4 goes to 7 one time. So you put 1 up there on top of the 7. 4 times 1 is 4. Put the 4 right here. And you do a little math problem here. So 7 minus 4 is 3. You bring down that 5. So now how many times does 4 go into 35? Well, it goes into 35 8 times. So 4 times 8 is 32. So we have remainder 3.
Yes.
Wow, good job, Chloe.
Thank you.
Like you had that pretty well rehearsed.
I'm going to tell you guys how to. I learned this I've learned this over years, but I'll just explain something new about math. How to find an average. Okay, let's say that there's a boy who has 4 tests. And so he gets 100 on one of them. Let's say 2 of them. And then he gets a 95 and then an 80. So, we're gonna add these up. 100 plus 100 plus 95 plus 80. We'll add these up. Now, 0 plus 5 plus 0 plus 0 is 5. And 9 plus 8 is 17. And then 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. There we go. So we have 375, but we're not done. We have to do 375 divided by 4 because depending on how many numbers we have up here, we have to divide that number by 375 divided by 4. 4 goes into 37 9 times. 36 4 goes into 15 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. So then we get a 3 down here. 93.3 is our average.
I see.
Wow, good job, Tan.
Thank you. Kate?
I think it's actually 93.75.
We have to call that.
Okay, I'm going to teach you how to do ratios. The ratio of ducks to geese is 3 to 4. If there are 36 ducks, how many geese are there? So 3 times what is 36? So it would be 12. And then 4 times something like something. So it's going to be 12 divided to, that would be 12 times 4 is 48. So it would be 48 ducks.
Wow.
Good job. Thank you. Wait, can you go back up there? I forgot to get a picture of you doing that. Just underline the word ducks or something.
Okay.
Algebra 2 graduate going to show us.
We're gonna teach you guys how to find an unknown. Okay. So
Here, go to the side no one can see.
we have a triangle. We have A, we have B, we have C, we have 6, we have 4, and we have 4. Some of you probably looked a little confused. Okay, so it says, let us find B. So we need this friendly fella right here. Okay, so we look at it and we're saying, oh my goodness, what is that? Well, you can make this pretty simple. There's actually 2 triangles in one. One big one here, and one small one there. So you look at it, you have your numbers, you fill them in. You have A, you have A plus B up top, you have C, and since this is the big one, you just combine those two and we have 10. Okay,
So it's similar triangles.
yeah, we have 3 unknowns in this one, so we'll leave that one alone for now. We have 1 over here, and we'll use the Pythagorean theorem. We'll do 6 squared, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C squared is a up top, so we'll do 6 squared plus 4 squared equals a squared. That's 36 plus 16, which equals 50. Whoops, not 52. That's what a squared equals. And actually, I have to use my calculator because I don't know what the square root of 52 is. To find a, it's 2 times the square root of 13. That's what a equals. So we have that. We'll so that's a. That's right here. So now we know that. Oh, so now we have a over here. We have b. It seems like it'd be helpful to know c. So we'll do ratios like Katie just did. We'll do 4. This side is to C, as bottom 6 is to bottom 10. So we do 40, 4 times 10, 40 equals 6C. Find C, or 6. That's C equals 20/3. Let's see here. So we have that, and we need to figure out what B is. That's our whole goal here. So we'll take A over here. We'll do another fraction here. 2 square root of 13 over 6, and then we'll do 2 times the square root of 13 plus b over 10. You guys follow that? Then we do some multiplication here. 2, this becomes 20 square root of 13 equals 6 times 2 is 12 square root of 13 plus 6b. We have common numbers here, or whatever you'd say that is. So we want to just get 6b by itself over here. So we'll just do minus 12. Minus 12, so we'll have 8 times the square root of 13 equals 6b. And to find b, we'll divide by 6, and b equals that number.
Very nice.
Wow.
Wait.
Impressive.
Thank you. It's a several year-long project. Actually, I think she started in 7th grade. I'm not sure, but I think.
I did
Finished it this
Trail
year.
Guide to Years Geography, and these are all the different sections of all the states, and so I colored them in. And for each state, like I started out with the New England states, which is Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. I would have the map here, and then I would label all the rivers and the capital. Then I'd go to the States of the Union, and they'd ask me what the nickname is and the flower and the state bird is. Then I'd go to the questions and then ask me questions about Maine.
It's a several year-long project. Actually, I think she started in 7th grade. I'm not sure, but I think.
I did
Finished it this
Trail
year.
Guide to U.S. Geography, and these are all the different sections of all the states, and so I colored them in. And for each state, like I started out with the New England states, which is Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. I would have the map here, and then I would label all the rivers and the capital. Then I'd go to the states of the Union, and they'd ask me what the nickname is and the flower and the state bird is. Then I'd go to the questions and then ask me questions about Maine. And then I'd sometimes do a timeline about Maine and all the things that happened. And then also made some recipes like lobster
Ooh.
casserole.
And you did that for every state?
Yes.
Very.
Wow.
Oh, look at
I don't remember that lobster casserole.
You know. Actually, the words lobster and casserole don't seem.
The chicken pot pie.
Very
Hold on for a
impressive.
minute.
I remember.
Very nice, very nice.
Okay. Who am I? Well, I'm Alex Noller, and I'm in 10th grade. And I'm doing this presentation so I can be a better speaker. I did this yesterday, so I can be a better speaker once again. Okay, I can show you what I've learned in each classes this year. Okay, math. In math, I've learned lots of things. I've learned the boat and the river problems. Those are just problems learning the rate of the river and the rate of the boat when there's other. The unknown is to find out the rate of the boat and the rate of the river. We learned gas law problems. Those will be good for next year since I'll be doing chemistry and all that stuff. Conjunctions, just conjunctions. And percent markups, my favorites. Anything having to do with percent markup. Pretty fun. Science. Lots of things I learned in science. Learned about the DNA, the RNA, replication, transcription, how DNA replicates itself, mitosis, meiosis, how the cells divide, and pretty fascinating stuff there. We learned about kingdoms and phylums and classes and subphylums, how the animal kingdom is all broken down into all these classes and how each group is put into a specific class or whatever. I learned how to dissect animals. Very fun. Lots of things learned there. I guess I dissected a worm, a crawdad, a perch, and a frog. Lots
Big of stuff
frog.
to learn there. Big.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
I learned about the human body, still learning about it. Learned how complex it is. Has many functions, many amazing parts. And learned about the different animals. And they're also pretty amazing themselves.
You talked about kitties, right?
No.
Oh.
World history. We learned about some famous world leaders, some good, some bad. Adolf Hitler, William Kaiser, George Danton. He was not exactly like a president or anything. He was just a leader during the French Revolution. Just somebody who's famous. If you asked French people today, Alexander the Great, people like that. Learned about the great empires, like the Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, the Egyptians, the Ottomans, the Chinese, the different ones that came and went. They don't last forever, do they? Rome's the best example. The different wars. learning about, and I guess I learned the effects that they had on people in their country and the nations around the world too, especially World War I and World War II. And to learn about the medieval classes and the class in India. Literary analysis. Learn how to do essays. Important to do those. I'm sure I'll be writing more as the year towards the end of my school year. Learned about characterization, about plot and theme and character, all about the characters and first person, second person, all of that. Yeah, symbolism. Oh, and annotating. Learn how to annotate. It's a good way to talk with the author, I guess, paper. Get your thoughts on paper so you can you'll understand the story better that way. Self-knowledge. Okay, I care the most about my family, my friends, and my future. Yes, future is pretty important. Things that interest me: sports, construction, business, and the world. Just world, and as far as things that are going on. Lots of bad things going on too. I am interested in construction. I learned that from working with my father there. And I realized that it's something I wouldn't mind doing for a long time. Something I enjoy doing. And oh yes, at home I'm a learning student, and in my community I need to be a helping person. I need to, I guess, put all I have into what I do, and to help them out. Oh, and at home I'm a pretty crazy person.
Lots of noises.
Responsible and productive citizen. Yes, this year I helped out in VBS in Awana, and I will be helping out in VBS. Upwards football was what I helped out in. And I'll be going to McCall for another VBS, helping out in the working crew. And I plan on finishing high school and going on to a 4-year college. Right now, according to this, my last PowerPoint, I said I wanted to go attend Cedarville, but plans have changed. Right now I don't know, but I am interested in either a local college or Cedarville. I mean, whatever works. This is who I am. Thanks for watching my presentation. Are there any questions?
All right. Thank you all. Good job.
Hello, my name is Queen Elizabeth, and I would like to share a couple facts about my life. My nickname was Big Queen Bess. My people said I was the best queen England ever had. I never married because I did not want my husband to take over all the power. My sister's name was Bloody Mary because she was so awful. She accused me of plotting against her and making everyone Catholic. If they didn't convert, they were burned at the stake. Over 300 men and women were burned. My father's name was King Henry VIII. He had 6 wives. It went like this: divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. My mother, his second wife, was Anne Boleyn. Is there any other questions?
How old did you live? Quite old.
She wouldn't know that now because she's still alive.
Excuse me.
Any other questions?
Was your father a nice?
Your sister being queen first.
Well, I lived out in the country because she, and one day one of her servants came and said that she died. So I became queen.
Wow.
She died.
Wow.
I had a brother named Edward. He was when my sister was born, she was named the Princess of Wales. But when I was born, she lost everything she had. And then when Edward was born, I lost everything. And when he died, my sister became queen. She was the oldest. And when she died, I became queen.
How long were you queen?
I can't see in the future.
How long have you been queen so far?
Maybe about 5 years.
All right.
Thank you, Queen Elizabeth.
Thank you.